Let me demystify corporate America for you all really quickly. It's nothing but a stage. And once you realize that you are an actor, it becomes super easy. Just get the lines down and the cadence and just practice your delivery. Yes, I can get that to you right away. Okay. By end of day, okay. We'll have to circle back really and truly, but I'm really confident that we can achieve our goals. And that's like level one, but if you want the master class, here's some other techniques. Okay. How's your oldest daughter doing? Oh, okay, yeah, college applications can be really difficult. Just the kids. It's the kids. It's all in the kids.
I worked in corporate America for several years. I kind of bop in and out. And in my humble opinion, corporate speak is the worst thing. I absolutely hate it. I don't get it. I don't like it. I'm good at it. I deal with it, but I don't like it. I think it's stupid. Why can't we just talk regularly with respect? Why do we have to say, oh, just checking in, circling back? What? Nobody says that. And then as soon as you start saying that in real life, it's like, oh, you're a corporate girly. I can see it. I can see it. And also, having been a corporate girly, having not been a corporate girly, like I said, bopping in and out, no one's happy. No one is happy, deep down. So why do we just take away all of the BS and act normal and act real? That would just make everyone more happy. They get to be themselves, their authentic selves. That would be the best way to do it. Oh, gosh.
Does anybody else feel like their life is just passing them by because of their job in corporate America? And you try really hard to compartmentalize your life and your job, but you have anxiety, and so everything just meshes together, and you end every single day with 15 tasks that you didn't complete, so it just gets pushed the next day, and you're just in this never-ending cycle of feeling like you're behind and like you're not doing enough? I'm going insane.
Alright, so I quit my white collar finance job about a month ago and started driving. And I've been driving for long enough to kind of talk about the difference between the two jobs. So when I was in the office, the first thing I noticed was, like, when I used to work in the office, after a day, I would be exhausted, like mentally exhausted. Like I'd come home and wouldn't have enough time or energy to like think or cook or like do anything else extracurricular. I just wanted to lay down and do nothing. But you know, driving is not like that. So like, I'm tired at the end of the day, but I get home and I have time to really focus on everything else that I have going on in my life, you know, plan for, you know, my personal business as well as other things. The second thing I noticed was the demographics. I was the only black man on my floor for like 2 years. And that was, I went into it knowing that, you know, I was gonna be, you know, the minority or whatever, but what they don't tell you is how draining that is. Work became less about my abilities and my expertise, and it became more of a performance to show competence rather than letting my competence show through my actual work. And I went to school for finance. I did not go to school for political science, so I just wasn't feeling the office politics. Like, in retrospect, there was so much going on, but while I was deep in it, I couldn't necessarily point out all the red flags. Yeah, so when I was working in corporate, I never had a male manager, and I especially never had like a black male supervisor. Like, all my supervisors were predominantly white women, and that's the complete opposite of, you know, my supervisor now. But yeah, man, just happy to be out of that environment. So let me know if you want to hear more about my corporate experience or what I got coming up next. You know, I don't see too many people, too many men in particular, black men in particular, talking about their corporate experience or their experience, you know, working a 9 to 5. So, you know, I thought I'd share a little bit.
I am the only person in my office that takes a 1 hour lunch. The only person, I'm the youngest person, I'm not going to say my age, but I am the youngest person and the only person that takes a 1 hour lunch. We come in at 7 a.m. and we leave at 5 p.m. Those are 10-hour days. So those are 50-hour weeks. We're salary. We don't get paid for 50-hour weeks. We get paid for 40-hour weeks. Nobody takes an hour lunch. I take my hour lunch because why not? And then I feel like, these judgmental stares when I come back in, like, I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm not doing this. Work-life balance. Isn't that what I got interviewed for? You guys said we care about work-life balance, blah, blah, blah. They're always trying to sell you this dream, paint you this picture. I'm so tired of these jobs. If you're my boss, I'm just kidding. I've been trying to figure out where his TikTok is so I can block him. Can't find it though, so hopefully he doesn't have a TikTok.
Guess who got laid off yesterday? Oh, it's been a wild ride. So on Tuesday night, everybody in the company got a message from our chief human resources officer basically saying, there's an all hands tomorrow, please make sure you attend. And of course I knew, like, last minute all hands, never a good sign. This is not my first rodeo, so I definitely had anticipated something like this happening. There have been whispers about potential layoffs for the last month and a half, so I had already started applying. Anyway, we get onto the town hall and the CEO spoke for about 3 minutes, pretty much saying, due to regulatory changes and different needs moving forward in the business, there will be a restructuring, blah, 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 blah. You're either going to get an email to your personal email address with a separation agreement, or you're going to get an email to your work email indicating you still have a job. I was like, what kind of awful reality TV show is this right now? And sure enough, a few minutes later, my Slack gets kicked out. So I knew that I had been laid off, and I was extremely frustrated, hurt, upset yesterday. But today I'm in like a much better headspace. It was aggravating because I was the first product manager to join the team. I had built a lot of our products from the ground up. I worked really hard. Not to say I was perfect, nobody is, but I always tried to go above and beyond. I always tried to be strategic and think from the mindset of our customers, really trying to build amazing products. And I was there for about a year and a half. And it didn't matter, and I think it's just a reminder that it doesn't matter sometimes how hard you work, how talented you are, how much of your life you sacrifice for a company, how loyal you are, whatever. Like, at the end of the day, the company is going to make the decision that is the most beneficial for them. They ended up laying off about 200 plus people. I think it ended up being about 35% of our total employees, so many of whom were really smart, really talented, very hardworking. And it's just a reminder that you always have to put yourself first. I think it can be really easy to put your mental, physical health to the side, and also sacrifice your morals, your ethics, whatever, for the sake of a paycheck, for the sake of stability, for the sake of feeling productive. And that is the worst thing you can do. For the first 8 months at my job, I was really happy. I thought it was the best job I'd ever had. I had an amazing set of coworkers. And I was really passionate about what I was doing. And then the last 3 to 4 months or so just got progressively more toxic. There were changes in leadership. Lots of people got fired, and just a lot of strategic and ethical decisions that were made that I didn't agree with. But obviously, I wanted to be stable and continue on and work hard. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter. So this is not my first rodeo. Like I said, I've been laid off before. And I think it's a reminder that we have to put ourselves first always. It's so easy to get lost in your job and to think like, oh, I just need to work harder. I I'm never going to take PTO. I'm never going to take a sick day. I'm never going to say no. Like, basically to let a company steamroll over our own boundaries. I can't even tell you how many people I had seen in Slack who were sending messages while they were on vacation or while they were supposed to be sick. Like, oh yeah, I'm out today, but it's okay, I'll still be responding. Like, no, take your day off, take your vacation, take your sick days, because when push comes to shove, you are going to be cut just like everybody else. They're not going to say, oh, well, Ariana never took a sick day, we're not going to lay her off. Like, it doesn't matter, truly. It's purely a numbers game. And I think we always have to remember what is like most important to us. And it's not our jobs for most of us. It shouldn't be anyway, unless it's maybe your own company and you're a majority shareholder or something like that. Always put yourself first. Always take care of your mental and physical health, because it's not worth it. I really just wanted to come on here and talk about it because I think it's easy to only talk about like the highlight reel on social media. And I just want to remind you, if you're going through a layoff or worried about getting laid off or just in a rough spot with your job, like, life goes on. You're going to find something amazing, and your job is not your entire life. So I'm excited about what's next. I feel optimistic. I have some interviews lined up, and I'm just trying to reset myself and focus on the future.
Investors often like to call McDonald's recession-proof because McDonald's has made it through every recession, every economic downturn in America, and come out glowingly. Usually their sales spike during these times. Well, McDonald's is down 3.6%. That's numbers we already have. And if it's down for another quarter, you can expect the fast food industry to start making major cuts as a whole. The CEO of Chipotle has already said that every economic class that shops at his store is pulling back. So whether you make 30 grand or whether you make 300 grand, you're not shopping as much as you used to. Obviously, with the middle class being the majority of that. But with the job cuts we've already seen, I think fast food is up next, and God knows what that's going to do. I don't think anybody realizes how many people fast food employs in the United States. And we have tech layoffs that are coming too. I would go look up and see what the CEO of Uber said recently. That I need you back in the office 3 days a week, and if you don't like it, there's a robust job market waiting for you. Which, I mean, that's just a threat to anybody. But some pain is a-coming.
The thing I need y'all to remember is that when your company decides to lay you off, in most cases, you're not going to have any notice, and they're just going to cut you out of all of their systems, like what happened to this gentleman. Now he's scrambling. He's trying to get a hold of his different contacts that could be helpful for him in his next job search, but that's a lot harder when you don't have access to any of your accounts, and the company owes you nothing. And I've given this advice before because the same is true for any projects you've worked on, any work samples. All of that is gone the second they cut you out of the system. So let me give you a couple of tips. So if you find yourself unexpectedly out of work, you're prepared for that. One, make sure that you are maintaining like contacts, people that would be helpful to you in the future. You need to have their contact information somewhere else. You can do that by forwarding the emails to another email account. You can get a CRM. I use this one called Dex. You can write them down in Excel. You can make an address book, make a little Rolodex, whatever, but you do want to keep up with your contacts from each of your jobs. Second tip I'm going to give you is you need to be saving those work samples. Again, you can email them to yourselves. You can copy and paste the relevant portions and put them into a personal Google Drive, but you want to have access to some of the things because in the future employers are going to ask you to see work products as part of the interview process. And so you want to have things that you can point to. And the third thing I'll say is like when you get praise at work, you get shout outs, screenshot those things, save those things, because these are things that you can reference in the future. When they ask you for an example of what people you work with say about you, you've got a long list of things because you've been saving those. If you need an introduction to a job that you're interested in, these are the people who have been fans of yours are the people you can go to and say, hey, can you intro me for this opportunity? These are examples you can pull from for interviews when you're in behavioral interviews and they want to hear about times that you've like solved problems or things like that. So like start a brag book, keep up with it, and do this before you need it.
Monday marked the start of new rules on what baristas are allowed to wear under those famous green aprons. The company requiring workers to wear plain black t-shirts and khaki, black, or blue denim bottoms. Under the old dress code, workers were allowed to wear other dark colors and shirts with a pattern. Starbucks Workers United, the union representing workers at 570 of Starbucks' 10,000 company-owned U.S. stores, says the dress code should be subject to collective bargaining. They filed a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board over the company's alleged failure to bargain.
Most of us are paycheck to paycheck. We can't afford to go out and buy new shoes, new pants, and new shirts. We need a livable wage.
In a statement to NBC News, Starbucks said, quote, it would be more productive if the union would put the same effort into coming back to the table that they're putting into protesting wearing black shirts to work. The company also said the strike is having a limited impact on their stores, saying 99% of the stores have been open all week.
This isn't just about clothes, it's about control. Right now, union Starbucks workers across the country are putting on runways and walking out on strike. Because once again, Starbucks made a big decision about our jobs without bargaining with us. And this time, it's a new restrictive dress code, one that we're paying for out of pocket. So we're walking on to say no more. And newsflash, making baristas wear certain shades of black doesn't make the customer experience any better. Policing what we have on doesn't fix short staffing or long lines, and it certainly doesn't help with baristas dealing with understaffing, lack of hours, and low pay. They think they can tell us how to dress, expecting us to spend money on new shoes or pants just to be in compliance with the new dress code, while we're already stretched thin and struggling to pay our bills as is. I don't think so. So here's what we're doing. We're flipping it. We're calling out this power grab for what it is. Workers in stores around the country are walking out this week, demanding Starbucks bargain with us and provide everything we need to be in dress code. To make one thing crystal clear, our union rejects this dress code in our nearly 600 growing union stores, and until Starbucks bargains with us, as is their legal obligation, we're not backing down. If Starbucks wants to talk about what we wear, they can come to the table and bargain. Until then, we'll keep organizing, keep showing up for each other, and keep escalating, because this fight just isn't about uniforms. It's about respect, rights, and a real contract. We're not here to play dress up. We're here to win.
My name's Ash Haldeman. I've been a barista at the Lincoln Highway Starbucks here for a little over 3 years. We're out on strike today because Starbucks is trying to implement a new dress code. No one ever asked for a new dress code. They updated a dress code recently, and it made it looser where we can wear colors and patterns. And now they're deciding that we can only wear black. It's very restrictive. Most of us had to buy new clothes, and we can't. We can't afford it. We barely make enough money to pay our bills. And also on top of that, they keep trying to make all these changes in union stores, and it's illegal. They're not allowed to make these changes without bargaining with us and voting on this. So it's just incredibly alarming and upsetting that Starbucks is continuing to do illegal things to our union stores. And so we're out here. We're out here making sure that they know that we're still here, and then we're fighting for that contract.
So yesterday I was laid off for my job, my very cushy, very nice trucking job. And that's all good. I got 2 interviews. I'm on my way to one right now. They're both better paying jobs. One of them is even closer to my house. But that's actually not what I want to talk about. Yesterday, while I was on that phone call, one of the drivers that was getting laid off, he said, hey guys, so you request a 2 weeks notice from us when we're going to leave. In fact, last year I did give you a 2 weeks notice. I decided to leave. I found a better job and I put in my 2 weeks, and you guys talked me out of it. You said, no, we're going to give you a raise, which you did. But I would be in a much better job right now. But you can't be bothered to give us a 2 weeks notice. Hey, you're about to lose your income. We have to give you, a multi-billion-dollar company, 2 weeks to find our replacement. But you can't be bothered to give us the same courtesy. The boss said, this is not a decision leadership makes lightly. And the driver said, that's not what I'm asking you. Then he said, there's not much more I can tell you. I'm sorry things are the way they are. And that was that. Let this be a reminder that you can be as loyal as a dog to a company. And when they decide to let go of you for whatever reason, they're moving on. And there's nothing you can do about that. And also, we're done giving 2 weeks notices. Courtesy is a two-way street. And if I can't expect that from you, don't expect it from me. Have a great one.
So UPS announced yesterday they were going to lay off 20,000 workers before the end of this year. Here's everything I do as quickly as possible. So first off, they actually made an announcement earlier this year that they were planning on closing 10% of the facilities by 2028. This was due to restructuring the company, getting rid of Amazon. This was an announcement. However, yesterday's announcement's a little different. So the company's citing two reasons, according to their earnings call, that happened recently. One of them being they're getting rid of 10% of their Amazon volume, and the other one is massive disruptions in the supply chain. Again, I've said this plenty of times, guys, but if you want to know the future of transportation, look to the longshoremen, because what do we deliver? Commodities, trinkets, toys, goods, all of that stuff. Guess where it comes from? I think you know. She also said that while Amazon is the largest customer, it's not that profitable. So let's talk about those numbers. So total, Amazon accounted for 20 to 25% of the total volume of UPS. Now, however, they were only about 12% of UPS's total revenue, okay, which was about $10.7 billion. So basically they announced the layoffs. They also said that because all of the uncertainty in the market, they have stopped with their predictions, and this triggered a response from the workers, because obviously 20,000 workers getting pulled, that's 20,000 livelihoods that directly affects the union. Union President Sean O'Brien had this to say: UPS is obligated to create 30,000 Teamster jobs under our current national agreement. If the company makes any attempt to violate our contract, UPS will be in for a hell of a fight. Yes, so there was an agreement in the contract that we were supposed to get new jobs by bringing in more volume from the post office, etc. What kind of fight? When the fight will take place, I don't know. We will wait and see further responses from the union as this thing plays out. That's it for now. There's a lot more I want to say about automation, technology, and Amazon in particular, but I'll save it for the comments and the caption. So let me know what you think. Thanks.